Hello, my name is Pastor Mike, and I serve at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Elizabeth, Illinois. This is episode 19, which is titled Abram's Sin. Yesterday, God made a covenant with Abram and said that, "To your offspring I give this land. And again, your very own son shall be your heir." Genesis chapter 15, verses 4 and 18. But the question here is, who shall be the son's mother? Our text for today is Genesis chapter 16, verses 1 through 15. Sarai and Hagar. Now, Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. She had a female Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, "Behold now, the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Go to my servant. It may be that I shall obtain children by her." And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. So after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian, her servant, and gave her to Abram, her husband, as a wife. And he went in to Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress. And Sarai said to Abram, "May the wrong done to me be on you. I gave my servant to your embrace. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked on me with contempt. May the Lord judge between you and me." But Abram said to Sarai, "Behold, your servant is in your power. Do to her as you please." Then Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from? And where are you going?" She said, "I am fleeing from my mistress Sarai." The angel of the Lord said to her, "Return to your mistress and submit to her." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "I will surely multiply your offspring, so that they cannot be numbered for multitude." And the angel of the Lord said to her, "Behold, you are pregnant and shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has listened to your affliction. He shall be a wild donkey of a man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. And he shall dwell over against all his kinsmen." So she called the name of the Lord, who spoke to her, "You are a God of seeing." For she said, "Truly here I have seen him who looks after me." Therefore, the well was called Ber Lahai Roi. It lies between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. So far, our text. So did Abram sin? Yes, he did. For it is written, and I quote, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." End quote. Genesis chapter 3, verse 24. Notice, that it says that a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife. It does not say wives. Now, this is very interesting because as we take a look, Adam and Eve's sin forever altered the loving commitment of marriage and the full blessing of family life that God intended for us. Now, we see dysfunctional families everywhere. Because of sin, every human relationship is broken. In the book of Genesis, we see an example of this brokenness in Abram. Not trusting fully in God's promise, Abram agreed to take Sarai's servant Hagar and have a child by her. From this union came Ishmael and a great deal of discord. Hagar eventually despised Sarah, and Sarah had her dismissed. Now, strictly speaking, this was not polygamy, because Hagar was a concubine and did not have the full status of a wife. Yet both women were rivals within the same household. Now, this is where some biblical scholars say that what Abram did was not a sin, because she was not fully a wife. She, Hagar, was a concubine. But we go back to the text in Genesis chapter 3. And it says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Husband and wife, one flesh. Now, don't you think that if it was okay for people to have more than one wife, that God would have said this somewhere? Or if God said that it was okay to have a wife and then a concubine, wouldn't God have said this also? But rather, he says, "Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall have one flesh." Husband and wife, leaving everyone else behind, becoming one flesh. So you could see that Abram and Sarai sinned because they added Hagar, another person, into their marriage relationship. And in this world of sin, we can clearly see this never ends well. God's blessings.